Saeed, Introduction to Finance, and this is our fourth lecture. What we have learned so far is how to use financial reports to compare different companies or compare a company at different points of time. But today we want to learn a new topic. Today's concept is very important because although it's very simple, later you will see how we can develop new and complicated formulas in finance using this simple concept. So you need to learn it by heart, you need to master it, because later we want to compute, let's say, we want to compute price of stocks, price of bonds, we want to make capital budgeting decisions, we want to compare different investments. So you will see that in the future, or even future topics, or later when you join the industry, we will be using this simple formula for many important and complicated financial decision makings. Actually, it's the same thing that you have seen in other aspects of your life as well. For example, we learn a very simple thing, then we practice, and then when we master it, we can do a wonderful, complicated, complex job. So, this is also what I did when I started to learn playing this drum. This is an Iranian drum, and the first lesson that I learned when I was a kid there were just three simple moves. The name of this instrument is tombak, and you can Google to know more about it. So the three simple moves for this Iranian instrument are this one, and this one. So the first lesson that I learned was practice, and then after a few months, a few years, I could play more complicated songs. For example, like this one. Okay, so today I will show you this simple basic formula, and then later I will show you how to make something like this with this formula. Stay tuned, I want to show you the first video.
This topic is about interest rates. Let's start with an example. Suppose you want to invest 100 US dollar. So today, T0 means today's time. Today, suppose you want to put your money in a bank account, or there is an investment and you want to invest $100. So $100 is your initial investment. You put this $100 in a bank account, and the interest rate that you will receive, suppose interest rate is 10% per year. Now, how much will you have in 1 year from now? So next year, we want to know how much will be in my bank account. So I think everyone can compute this easily. 10% is the interest rate. 10% of $100 means that it will be added 10% to it, means that you will have $110, right? Now, assume that you withdraw this $10, the interest rate, the interest that you received, and you continue for one more year. So the $100 will be in your bank account for one more year, but you already received the $10. So actually you will receive the $10 of this 110, and the principal will be in your bank account. So how much you will have in the following year? Again, so here I withdraw $10, so $100 is left in my bank account. So in the following year, again $10 interest rate I will receive. So I will have $110. What I'm saying is, if you receive the interest rate only on the principal, the original principal, on the $100 you put in your bank account or your initial investment, this is called simple interest rate. So simple interest rate means you will receive interest only on the principal, only on the $100 initial investment. So every year you will receive $10. So after 3 years, the total interest you will have is $30. In 5 years, $50. In 10 years, $100, right? So this is called simple interest rate. Do we have any other type? Yes. We also have compound interest rate. So what is compound interest rate? Compound interest rate means you will receive interest on both original principal and the interest you already received. So you will receive interest on interest as well. So let's use the same example. But assuming that it's compound interest rate. So now let's assume that there is a bank account and you put $100 in your bank account. The interest rate is 10% per year, but you will receive interest on interest as well, means compound interest rate. So it's compound interest rate. So what is compound interest rate? What will be how much you will have after 1 year in your bank account? If the interest rate is 10%, you will have $110. We already know, right? 110. But this time, you won't withdraw the $10. Or let's say you will keep this $110 in your bank account. And of course, you will receive 10% on the $10 interest as well. So what you will receive is 10% interest on $110. So in the following year, how much will you have? In the following year, you will have, 10% will be of this 110 will be added to your investment. So you will have $121, not $120. How? So I will compute it here. So you start with $100, then after 1 year, 10% will be added to it. So you will have 110. This is your investment, the value of your investment after 1 year. Then in the following year, you will earn 10% on this $110. So if you compute, it will give you 121. What happens if you continue for 1 more year, T3? If you continue for 1 more year, then if it's compounding, so already you have $121, so 10% will be added to it. So now you have, if you compute it, $133. So 133.1. So now, do you see any pattern here? I can put this 100 multiplied by 1.1 here. I will replace, so this will be here, and then this will be here, will be inserted here. And what you will have, so after 3 years, so let's say future value in 3 years will be 100 multiplied by 1.0.1 here, then multiply by 1.01, then multiply by 1.01. What happened? So for 3, if you leave your money there for 3 years, I can write it like this. 1, 2, 3, power 3. So actually this is the formula for computing the future value of your investment after 3 years. So how can I generalize this formula? I think it's very clear. So the formula, the general form of the formula will be future value after n years is present value multiplied by 1 plus interest rate, and power is n. Means if you invest today, you can compute the value of your investment after n years, assuming that you receive R% interest rate. And this is called compounding interest rate. Means you will receive interest on interest.
Sorry, muted. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Hope you enjoyed today's class. I need to silence my phone. Yeah, so today's concept is very simple. I believe you already, before even attending this class, you knew how to compute the interest rate and how much you will have after a year when you put your money in a bank account. But I just wanted to ensure that you understand the difference between simple interest and compound interest rate. And then in the next video, I want to show you how we can extract the formula, how we can construct a formula based on this concept. And this formula is the most important formula in your is the most important formula in finance. Many of the formulas that you will see in the future all are extracted from this formula. So it's very important to master this formula. So I will show you the formula, how to construct this simple formula. So I expect you to memorize this formula. So if you have a bad memory like me, you may just practice. This is the only formula I really need you, I really want you to memorize, right? So memorize this formula. It's difficult, I don't know, maybe you can tattoo on your skin. But anyway, this is the key. And I will show you a few examples after that, and then there are more videos I've prepared. I prepared a lot of videos. Many of the videos are not still on times, so later, maybe in a few weeks, I will post them. So in terms of materials, it's a lot for this subject. So anyway, if you are ready, I want to show you how to construct this important formula. And yep. Okay, already. Let me see here. Yes. So let's go for it.
In the previous video, I showed you the difference between simple interest rate and compound interest rate. And we constructed this important formula. I tell you, this is the most important formula in finance. Many of the formulas that you will see in the future topics, they are derived from this formula. So I suggest you memorize this formula, but actually it's very easy to understand the formula. So actually no need to memorize it. You can easily understand and remember it when you need it. So this is future value, means you can compute the value of any cash flow today, the value of this any cash flow today in the future. It means what will be the value of $1 today, next year, or 2 years later, or n years later. And as you can see, there are 4 parameters here. Future value means the value of cash flows in the future time. So in this example, as you can see in this in the general form, as you can see, I want to compute the future value of an investment or a cash flow today. So today I have PV. So PV means the value of a cash flow or an investment today. So PV means present value. PV means present value of a cash flow. And FV means the future value of the cash flow or investment. So if you invest today $100, you want to know what's the value of this $100 5 years later or n years later, so you can compute it. Or sometimes you expect to receive, for example, $100 5 years later. You want to know what's the value of this $100 that you will receive, you expect to receive 5 years later today. Then we have R. What is R? R is interest rate. Sometimes we write I, sometimes we write R, so up to you. Interest rate, but interest rate per what? Per period. This is very important. Sometimes the period is year, sometimes the period is 6 months, sometimes the period is 3 months, sometimes it's a day. So the first thing you need to do is to identify the period. In most cases, yeah, I understand in most examples that you will see, we assume that period is year. So interest rate per year will be inserted in the formula. But there are some cases that period is not year. You will see these examples later. So this is very important. Keep this in mind that R or I or whatever you put it here is interest rate per period, not per year. It's per period. And then N. What is N? Or in some textbooks they write T, or whatever you are interested, you can put it here. But there should be something here as the power. So what is N? N is number of what? Number of year? No. Number of periods. Periods. So again, sometimes period is not year, but again, I understand in many cases, in many examples that I will give you, we assume period is year. But sometimes period can be month, 3 months, maybe 1 day, maybe 1 hour, so it depends. So this is the most important formula, and we will use it a lot. We will use it a lot. So you may even tattoo it on your skin, because you will be using this formula even in future topics, even when later you want to invest. For many important financial decision making, you will be using this formula. So this is very important.
Okay, I just shared the most important formula in finance with you. Guys, this is serious. If you are not even finance students, accounting or economics student, it doesn't matter. If you're studying, culinary arts, you're a tourism school student, medical students, you need this formula, guys. You need this formula. And I tell you, I make many of my day-to-day life decisions using this formula. I will later share some examples with you, not during this lecture, later. And you will see it can be used in many contexts. It's not only for finance. I will tell you how to make better decisions using this formula. So anyway, so maybe it's good to start. Maybe you can write it down on a piece of paper. And
no need to be honest, no need to really memorize. You need to understand it. You need to understand this formula. And if you understand, anytime when someone asks you, you immediately can write down the formula, right? So there shouldn't be any problem. Now, so far I have told you about simple interest rate, compound interest rate, present value and future value formula, or time value of money. Now, I want to give you an example. So a real example. So we already know the formula, how to apply this formula. Before we continue, I want to show you something, maybe just to be prepared for the example I want to share with you. As I already shared with you, I'm in Sydney. I'm in quarantine hotel, 14-day quarantine in Sydney, and see what I found in my hotel. You know, Aussie people, Australians are very proud of their products, so I expected to everything here to be made in Australia, but see what I found in my hotel in Sydney. This was complimentary and I found it here. Guess what I have in my hand? Yeah, noodle. And the Asian one, this is Indonesian. It's made in Indonesia. So it's the one that you can find in all supermarkets in Malaysia and Indonesia. Yeah, it's very interesting. You can find this everywhere. So if you later travel to Australia, yeah, and if you missed Malaysian food, maybe you can find this in your hotel. So interesting. Anyway, this is, yeah, fried noodles. So let's continue. Already the formula is clear to you. Okay, now I want to show you an example. This is your very first example, guys. This is the very first example. So 15th of September, I'm sharing the first example of applying this important formula with you. Maybe every year you can celebrate today, right? And let's go for the formula, the first formula. Example 1, time value of money. This is our first example for time value of money. Suppose you need $10,000 in 1 year for the down payment on a new car. If you can earn 7% per year, how much do you need to invest today? So suppose there is a bank account and there's a bank that they pay 7% interest if you invest there, and you need $10,000 1 year from now. How much you should put in the bank account to have 10,000? So how much you should put today in your bank account to have $10,000 next year if the interest rate is 7%. I suggest you always start with drawing a timeline. So because this will help you understand the question better, especially for later you will see there are more complicated questions. This is very straightforward. It's good to practice here because later you need it. So this is today, T0, T1 means next year, and next year you need $10,000. So $10,000 you need next year, and we want to know how much we need to invest today if interest rate is 7% per year. First of all, what's the period here? Because you remember the formula that I showed you is per period. So the formula is per period. We need to identify the period first. Okay, the period here is a year because you invest today and the interest rate is 7% per year. So the period is year. So if the period is year, so all the parameters, I mean the N and also R in the formula will be per period. Now, what do we want to compute here? We know already $10,000 is the future value because next year money that you need. So future value is $10,000. And we know the interest rate. You can use R or I to show it. So I write I here. I is 7, interest rate 7% per year, which here, as here is year is period, as period is year. So 7% per period or per year. And then what else? Number of periods, 1 year. So N is year 1. And then what do we want to compute? Present value. How much do we need to invest today? What's present value? So what's the formula for present value if it's a compounding case? So the formula, as you remember, is future value divided by 1 plus R power N. R is actually I. Sometimes we use R, sometimes we use I. It's the same thing. So FV, future value, is $10,000 divided by 1 plus 7. 7 means 0.07 and power 1. So if you compute, it will be $9,345.79. This means you need to invest $9,345.79 today in your bank account, and then next year you will have $10,000 and you can use it to buy your new car. So this is the way we use the formula to compute present value. You may use your financial calculator as well. So there will be another video to show you how to use financial calculator, Texas Instrument BA2 Plus, which is the calculator we use in this course. But here I just write simply what are the parameters you need to enter into the calculator. So for this question, for this sort of questions, we have 4 parameters. We need to enter them into the calculator. Please refer to the video on the calculator instruction. But the 4 parameters you need for this type of questions are future value. You need to enter $10,000. So you just enter 10,000, and then interest rate. When you use financial calculator, for the interest rate, you just enter 7. No need to enter 0.07. So when you use the formula, it should be in decimal point. When you use the financial calculator, just 7. And then N is 1. Then you press CPT, means compute present value. And then you will get the answer. Okay, so this was the first example. I'm using this formula. I will provide more examples to you, and I will show you. I prepared a few videos on different forms of this formula. For example, what if you want to compute, let's say, interest rate? What if you want to compute number of periods, right? So you can use the same formulas, but you need to write the formula in the way to find the other parameters. So it's always like this, you have all parameters except one, then you need to put them in the formula to compute the one that is required. I was just going through the chat box and I found a few questions. One was about the financial calculator. Actually, many of you sent me private message and I replied some of them, not all, because it's not possible to reply all messages. First of all, I really appreciate that you have very good, we have a good interaction in my Instagram page. If you are not following my Instagram, I think I posted it on times. So it's good because I have created that Instagram page for my class. This is different from my personal account. But anyway, many of you asked me, I did my best to reply the messages, but it's impossible to reply all because of the number of messages that I receive. Imagine that this semester I have around 600 students, and just randomly, if the 10% of them every 1 or 2 days ask me questions, so not easy to manage. But anyway, about the financial calculator, I just wanted to share with you This is part of this module. Why? Because I will be teaching you how to use this financial calculator that I have already shared with you, Texas Instrument BA2 Plus, to do the calculations. And yeah, many of you asked me whether you need this calculator for this topic. You can use it for this topic, but the main purpose is for the future topics because those topics are more complicated. You can answer all questions manually, but it's difficult and it takes time, and if you make a mistake you will miss marks in the final exam. So to and to smoothly pass this subject, please make sure you have this calculator. And also this calculator is very good for your, even maybe it's good to have this calculator at home, because later if you want to do any calculation, to compute your loan or any finance calculations, this calculator is perfect, and you can use it for your future modules if you are finance or economics or accounting student. And also if you want to sit on a finance test, this is usually the calculator that you are allowed to use. And for your final exam, this is the only finance calculator that you are allowed to use in your final exam. I mean, you can use other calculators, but if they have memory or you can save things in them, you cannot. But this is the only financial calculator we encourage you to use in the final exam. Some of you asked me whether you can use an online calculator. You see, it's exactly like other calculators. There are many different brands of calculators. I personally I was using another brand. Yeah, last year actually I lost the calculator. I don't know where I put it. Anyway, I left it. So yeah, there are many different types of many different brands of these financial calculators. The issue is we won't be teaching you all these calculators. So we will be only teaching you Texas Instrument BA2 Plus, right? And at the end, if you don't want it after this semester, again, if you are from business school, you need it. But if you are not from business school and you don't want it for your future life, okay, you can easily sell it. You just give it with discount and said you already have seen on my Instagram my previous semester students, some of them who want to sell, they just send me a message, I share on my Instagram, and easily you can sell every semester a few hundred students. It means every year around thousands including the short semester, more than 1,000 students take this subject. Easily you can sell to them if you don't want it, but trust me, if you are from business school, definitely you need it. Anyway, this is about the financial calculator. So about the apps, it's like asking me whether we can use other types of financial calculators. Guys, I will be only teaching you Texas Instrument BA2 Plus. This was part of this module before I take over the module. So I didn't invent this. I didn't include this in the module. Anyway, and many of you asked me about the assignment, the individual. So you sent me private message. I was not able to answer all of them. I apologize. I saw many of the messages. I didn't have even time to read the whole message. Some of them were so long. The reason is, for your assignment, you need to contact your tutor. The tutor is the person who will mark your assignment. So ensure that you are aligned with the, make sure you have a good understanding of the tutor's expectation of this assignment. And what you need to do is, during the tutorial class, you can contact your tutor, or you can book his time or her time if during the tutorial class the discussion was not enough for consultation, and ask the tutor about the assignment. So I'm not able to answer the questions regarding the assignment. So this semester, I totally understand. I don't think that I don't know. I understand you want to do an assignment and this is your job to do a good assignment. You want to get a good mark. So and of course, people write to me, and hope you understand my situation as well. I receive so many messages and emails every day, so it's impossible. This is the reason we have tutors. Yeah, this is the reason we have to. If you are in my tutorial class, I will be more than happy to have more deep discussion with you about the assignment. But if you are not in my tutorial class, please contact your tutors are excellent people. They have been teaching this subject for years, so there shouldn't be any issue. And then, to be honest, I just want to make sure that you have a very good experience of this subject. And to achieve this, I'm recommending contacting your tutors, because you will send me a message about the assignment in Instagram, or you email me, and I'm not able to answer it because the right person to talk to is your tutor. Then I also feel bad, because I don't want to, yeah, just leave the messages without replying them. So it's good to just contact your tutor. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for understanding, and let me show you. Okay, let me see what I have here on my play. Okay, here we have. Okay, I have prepared one activity. I don't think I want to do it today because I know some of you are worried about your attendance too, so I don't want to delay the attendance. But anyway, let me show you one more example. It's just very, yeah, let me show you one more example. It's again on time value of money, very similar to what I just shared with you. And we will continue the discussion. So let's go for the next example, second example, guys. In this example, we want to compute present value of $150,000 that you will receive, that you need to pay in 17 years. Let's read the question. You want to begin saving for your son's college. So you now have a son and you want to save for his college, and you estimate that you need to pay $150,000 in 17 years. If you can earn 8% per year, how much you need to invest today? Let's draw the timeline. We always start with drawing the timeline. It will help you a lot later. You will see in the future examples. So, T0 means today's time, then T1 next year, at the end of year 2, 3, and 17. So at the end of year 17, you need to pay $150,000. You need to have $150,000. How much do you need to invest today? So what's the present value of these $150,000 today? If you earn 8% per year 8% means the period is per year. So the formula will be constructed per year. And we want to compute today's value. So we already have the future value, which is 150,000, and we want to compute present value if interest rate. So this is I or R or whatever you want to name it, 8%. So the formula is, we need to write the formula based on present value. Present value equals future value divided by 1 plus R power n. And future value is 150,000 divided by 1 plus, and interest rate is 8%, so we write 0.08. What's the power? N. N is 17. And if you do this calculation, you need to invest 40,540.34 US dollar today. So if you invest, if you put $40,540 in your bank account today and you earn 8% interest rate per year, after 17 years, you will have 150,000 US dollar. So this is the way you can answer the question using the formula. You also may want to use your financial calculator, Texas Instrument BA2 Plus. This is the calculator we use in this course. So how to use? There are 4 parameters. You need to enter 3 of them to get the 4th one. What are the 4 parameters? PV, FV, R, N. And in this question, we have FV, R, and N, and we want to compute PV. So what you need to enter into the calculator is future value, 150,000. Then R, or in the financial calculator, it's I over Y. If you check your financial calculator, you see there is a button labeled as I, interest rate per year. So you need to key in for this 8. Because this is a calculator, no need to enter 0.08. So when you use the formula, you need the interest rate will be in decimal points. But when this is a calculator, when you're using a calculator, just enter 8. So interest rate, the button is, so there is one button for FV, there is one button for interest I over Y. Then there is one button for labeled as N, means number of periods, which is year here, and it's 17 in this question. You already keyed the data. Now we want to compute the present value of this 150,000 today. So you need to press CPT, means compute, and then press PV, means compute present value, and you will get the same answer.
Okay, so guys, there is only one more short video that I want to share with you, which is for multiple cash flows. I believe that you already learned how to compute the present value and future value of a cash flow. Now, what if we have several cash flows? And guys, don't forget, there are other examples, for example, to compute interest rate, to compute number of periods, that I have prepared videos for them. I will post them on times, so make sure you watch them. Our lecture is not limited to this 1 hour. It's more. It's 2 hours. So the rest will be on the on the portal. So what I want to do is, first, ensure that your CAMS is ready, because we take the attendance through CAMS. So do not email me later that I missed the CAMS, or I was in the toilet, I was sleeping. No. I don't accept. Don't write to me later that you couldn't do the CAMS, right? Ensure your code, the CAMS is ready. I will release the code in 4 minutes. So ensure your CAMS is ready. And when you use the CAMS, be patient, guys. The server, sometimes because 500 students suddenly, log in, so it gets a bit slow. So just be patient, refresh, try again. Now, I want to show you the last video that I have prepared for today. And in the meantime, I will set up CAMS and share the code with you.
So far, the examples that we have seen were based on one cash flow. Now, what if we have multiple cash flows? Look at this example. Assume that next year you will receive $1,000. In year 2, at the end of year 2, you will receive $2,000. And at the end of year 3, you will receive $3,000. Now, what is the value of present value of these future cash flows if interest rate is 10% per year? In other words, we have 3 future values and we want to compute the present value of these 3 future cash flows. It means the value of them today. So actually there is no new formula. We still will use the previous formula that I showed you, but we need to do it 3 times. We need to use the formula 3 times. So I will discount all these 3 cash flows using the same formula that we already have seen, but one by one. So what's the present value of $1,000 that you will receive next year? The formula, as you hopefully remember, is present value is future value divided by 1 plus R power n. So now we use the formula to discount this $1,000 to the present time. So present value, I name it PV, let's say for cash flow 1, C1, okay, is $1,000 divided by 1 plus R. R is 10%, so 0.1. Power is 1. Then next one, I discount the second cash flow. I name it PV cash flow 2, present value of cash flow 2 is $2,000 divided by 1 plus interest rate, and power is 2 because you are discounting it for 2 periods. And the third one, present value of the third cash flow is $3,000 divided by 1 plus 0.1, and power is 3 because you are discounting it for 3 periods to the present time. Now you compute these 3, and then this plus this will give you the total present value or net present value. And if you do the calculation, present value is, so the first one, if you compute this, will be $909.09 plus the second one, if you do the calculation, will be $1,652.89, and the third one will be $2,253.94. And this means this plus this plus this is $4,815.93 US. So the present value of these 3 cash flows today at the interest rate of 10% is $4,815.93 US. You may use your financial calculator to do the same calculation as well, but you need to use the cash flow mode of your calculator. For more information, please watch the video on the Texas Instrument instruction. Hey guys, I just released the CAMS code. Maybe I can share it here too. So, hope you enjoyed today's class. I will post, there are some more videos you need to watch, and I will see you next week. This is the CAMS code. Don't miss it. Later, don't write to me that I missed it. Just key in the code. Take care and have a good day.